Buckhorn caliber IBCs are available in both top and bottom discharge models. Key container features to note on the 270 and 315 models include stacking ridges on the lid keep stacked containers from moving during shipment. Locking latches secure the lid to the container. Interlocking side panels provide superior strength. Anti-slip corner and center feet aid in stacking stability. And center supports add strength in the base for load-bearing performance. All caliber IBCs have a standard footprint of 44.7 inches by 48.6 inches. Unit heights vary from 42 to 48 inches. The Caliber 300, also available in top or bottom discharge styles, has the same key features as the 270 and 315 models, yet is equipped with a unique corner rod panel locking system. To remove the lid from a collapsed caliber container, lift along a 48-inch or long side. Then lift a 44-inch or short side and pull the lid off of the container. To erect a caliber 270 or 315 container, erect the 48-inch side panels until they remain upright. Erect a 44-inch side panel with one hand holding the hand grip. Snap the 44-inch panel in place until it's fully engaged. Repeat the same procedure for the remaining 44-inch side panel. To erect a caliber 300 container, erect the 48-inch side panels until they remain upright. Pull up the two corner rods. Erect a 44-inch side panel until it's fully engaged. Push down the corner rods to lock the panel in place. Repeat the same procedure for the remaining 44-inch side panel. To place the lid on an erect caliber container, align the 48-inch side of the lid to the corresponding side of the container. After they're aligned properly, push down on the lid until it's fully seated on the container. To lock a caliber lid, simply pull the yellow locking latches toward you until they engage the locking bolt. The bolt must be visible through the latch. Please be aware that lid and latch damage can occur when the latches are not properly engaged. To begin collapsing caliber 270 and 315 containers, remove the lid by unlocking the latches. To open a locking latch, simply push it inward by using a palm or thumb until the locking latch disengages from the locking bolt. Lift the lid corners on the 48-inch side and slide the lid off of the container. Push up the corner buttons on a 44-inch side to disengage the panel locks, and push the side firmly with the palm of your hand to fold down the side. Repeat the step on the other 44-inch side. Then collapse the remaining 48-inch sides. Align the lid to its corresponding sides and reinstall the lid. Press down on all four corners to seat the lid. Damage may occur if the lid is set on the container without its correct sides aligned, or if it's placed on the container upside down. After removing the lid, pull up two corner rods on the 44-inch side. Fold the side panel down and then push down the corner rods. Repeat the same steps on the other 44-inch side. Fold down the 48-inch side panels. Then align the lid to corresponding sides and reinstall the lid. Press down on all four corners to seat the lid. Remember, damage may occur if the lid is set on the container without its correct sides aligned or if placed on the container upside down. A forklift-compatible base on all caliber containers allows efficient and secure handling from all four sides. Keep in mind that the recommended fork tine length is 42 inches, with a maximum of 44 inches. Also, pallet jacks can be used only on the 44-inch sides. When handling caliber containers with a forklift, always use safe handling procedures. Use the appropriate 44-inch fork length and height, or spearing damage may occur. When stacking containers, incorrect fork tine length can also cause stacked containers to collapse if stacked rows are hit by fork tines protruding past the 44-inch recommended length. Do not tip the fork tines up when entering the container base, or short fork or tip the container. All caliber containers have 6 standard anti-slip corner and center feet for stacking stability. Always lift the container above the ground before moving. Never push or slide the container across the ground, as this will result in unnecessary wear or damage to the anti-slip pad surface. When backing near other containers, pay close attention to adjacent containers, or damage or personal injury may occur. Whether full or collapsed, caliber containers must be stacked with the same sides in alignment. To create secure stacks, ensure that the base of the top container interlocks with the lid of the container below it. When stacking full or empty containers, keep in mind the following general specifications depending on your application. In rail cars, full containers can be stacked 2 high, while collapsed containers can be stacked up to 7 high. Based on a 53-foot trailer, full containers can be stacked 2 high, while collapsed containers can be stacked up to 6 high. Note that when containers are full, the trailer will probably weigh out before the allowable space is cubed out. For outdoor or warehouse storage, full containers can be stacked up to 5 high, and collapsed containers can be stacked as high as a forklift will safely permit. When loading the containers, make sure the 48-inch side or long side is placed in the rail car horizontally, with the 44-inch or short side facing the center void. Doorway stacks and the 4 stacks by the doorway areas are the most critical when loading the containers. When stacking the containers, make sure the feet of the container being loaded are interlocked with the lid ridges below to ensure safe stacks. When loading next to the doorway areas, load the stacks by the doorway row first, then load the stacks in the next row. Be careful when maneuvering in narrow spaces and backing near other containers. As the rows of containers in the rail car are created, place door core drop fillers in the center void. Before the doorway stacks are loaded, apply 2 layers of Palcor bulkhead on each end of 2 parallel rows. Then apply 1 layer of Palcor bulkhead on each end of the opposite rows. Once the doorway stacks are loaded, insert a corrugated sheet on each side of the 2 doorway stacks. Then insert 1 airbag each between the sheets, and inflate the airbags to 6 to 8 psi. Before unloading, deflate the airbags using a sharp blade or utility knife. Unload the outside stacks in the doorway area. Remove the dunnage, securing the inside row of stacks behind the door, and unload the containers. Then remove the dunnage used for preventing door-to-door movement of the remaining containers. Be careful when maneuvering the forklift to unload the first containers by the door. Container panels can be dented if the forklift is reversed carelessly. To lift the containers, carefully enter the fork tines to avoid damage to the feet or base of the container. Unloaded containers can be stacked up to 5 high and stored before being moved to a discharge area. For return loading, collapsed caliber containers can be stacked up to 6 or 7 high, depending on the height of the rail car. When loading the containers, make sure the 48-inch side or long side is placed in the rail car horizontally, with the 44-inch or short side facing the center void. When stacking the containers, make sure the feet of the container being loaded are interlocked with the lid ridges below to ensure safe stacks. Before loading the doorway stacks, place the door core drop fillers in the center void for side-to-side movement. Use extra caution when stacking doorway columns because there's very little room to maneuver the forklift. Do not spear or spin the container with the forklift, or damage to the container may occur. Do not load any damaged containers. Damaged containers should be properly labeled and sent for repair. Before closing the rail car door, place Palcor bulkhead between the doorway void for end-to-end movement. Remove the Palcor bulkhead between the doorway void, and then remove the doorway stack first. Next, remove the door core drop fillers and then finish unloading the containers. Begin loading caliber containers at the bulkhead of the trailer and use standard forklift loading procedures. Based on a 53-foot trailer, the trailer will hold 56 containers loaded in 2 layers with the 48-inch or long side stacked against the trailer bulkhead. Note that containers can weigh up to 3,300 pounds each, and the trailer may weigh out before it's fully loaded. Collapsed caliber containers are loaded with the 48-inch or long side facing the trailer bulkhead. A 53-foot trailer will accommodate 168 collapsed containers, stacked in a maximum of 6 layers, each with 28 containers. Buckhorn offers a wide range of accessories for its Caliber Series IBCs, including tamper-evident seals, tamper-evident caps, gland adapter for bottom discharge caliber containers, liner bags, and a filling bridge to assist with filling liner bags. Liner bags for caliber containers are available from a variety of suppliers. Contact your Buckhorn representative for complete details and assistance with liner bags and accessories. First, check to ensure that the lid latch is locked before attaching the seals. Position the inner half to cover the locking bolt inside the lid latch. Position the outer half of the seal to align it with the inner half tab showing through the latch, and press the two halves together until they click. Grip the seal tab on the inner half. Pull up firmly until the outer half breaks free and falls off. Then open the locking latch. Slide one half of the gland adapter onto the fitment valve on the liner bag. Align the long tabs on each half of the liner bag. Push both gland adapter halves together until they meet around the fitment valve. Align the gland adapter, now mounted on the liner bag, with the inside of the discharge opening in the container. Be sure to align the bottom of the gland adapter behind the small ridge in the bottom of the discharge opening. Pull the gland adapter through the discharge opening until it clicks into place. Make sure the liner bag is already in the container and the top fitment valve cover has been removed. For bottom discharge containers, ensure that the gland adapter is already installed and secured to the discharge area. Lay the filling bridge across the sidewalls on the container. Pull back on the spring-loaded frame on the filling bridge and insert the fitment valve into the other half of the frame. Release the handle on the frame so that the filling bridge is now secured around the fitment valve. The liner bag is now ready for filling. Align the outer tabs on the tamper-evident cap with the slots in the discharge opening, with the cap's tab facing down. Push the cap firmly with your fingers or the palm of your hand until it clicks into place. Firmly pull on the cap's tab with your index finger until the cap begins to tear. Continue pulling up firmly until the tab breaks free, and then remove the remaining cap halves. To replace a locking latch, use a flathead screwdriver to pry out the latch. Take out the latch and replace it with a new one. Test the latch to see if it was installed properly by checking its range of motion. To replace a side panel, use a flathead screwdriver to carefully release the side panel clip from the base. Once the clip is released from the base, slide the whole panel away and set it aside for recycling. Install a new side panel by aligning it with the base and then pressing down until the clips interlock into the base. Raise the side panel to the upright position to test if the new side panel is installed properly. To replace a corner rod, pull it out until the end of the rod with the stop point indentation is seen. Cut off the end of the rod at the indentation using a gate cutter. Pull out the whole rod and insert a new one. To replace a foot, first use a ratchet to remove the leg bolt. Then place a chisel in one of the slots on the bottom of the foot. Using a heavy-duty hammer, while keeping the chisel perpendicular to the foot, strike the chisel firmly a few times to shear off a tab on the inside of the foot. Repeat the same procedure on the second slot in the foot. Remove the damaged foot and install a new one. Then use the ratchet to tighten the leg bolt. For further information about Buckhorn's Caliber series of IBCs, contact your Buckhorn sales representative for assistance by calling toll-free in the U.S. 800-543-4454 or by fax at 513-831-5474 or email us at sales@buckhorninc.com. In Canada, call us toll-free at 800-461-7579 or by fax at 905-791-9942 or email us at sales@buckhorncanada.com. Thank you for watching and learning more about good handling practices for Buckhorn's Caliber IBCs.